In the world of Assassin's Creed, the core element of success isn't just the story, it's the gameplay elements that make the series stand out. Among these, one element towers above the rest: stealth. Almost every assassin relies on stealth, but the real question is, which one executes it most effectively? To give you a clear answer, we'll dive into both the lore and the gameplay, analyzing each assassin's approach. And at the end, we'll reveal one definitive choice, a pick that might just shock you. So, let's find out. Starting with Eivor, she's easily the least stealthy protagonist on our list. Built for combat rather than subtlety, both the gameplay and the lore emphasize her warrior nature. She's bulky, masculine, and thrives in direct confrontation, not in creeping through the shadows. Even though Basim attempts to train her in stealth, his methods don't quite fit her style. The developers, however, tried to make stealth work in gameplay because they added a functional hood and cloak, brought back social stealth, and created opportunities that would complement it. The tools were there, but it just didn't click. Eivor's presence in stealth situations is immediately obvious. You couldn't spend a second without being detected, and even on the easiest difficulty, the odds of being noticed are very high. All this makes one thing clear: stealth simply isn't Eivor's game. Bayek, the creator of the Assassins, laid the very foundation of the methods that would define the creed. But was he himself a master of the skills that later assassins perfected? The answer sits somewhere in the middle. His story takes place in ancient Egypt, a setting with fewer opportunities, more restrictions, and limited resources. Yet despite these challenges, Bayek did what he did best. In the main story, there's no definitive 100% synchronization system, giving us the flexibility to imagine his actions in a way that fits his style. He was a warrior who was unafraid of direct combat, but in many instances, he preferred to go silent. Even his very first encounter with Roman soldiers showcases him using stealth. Canonically, Bayek is an all-rounder who leans towards stealth, but gameplay tells a different story. Animations and mechanics are stiff, and while Bayek is agile in lore, he rarely feels agile in action. His ranged weapons are limited to the bow and arrow, sleep darts, berserk darts, fire bombs, and smoke bombs. Historically accurate, yes, but functionally these tools often fall short. Lore-wise, he's a true hidden one. But gameplay-wise, stealth feels lackluster. But thanks to the PC modding community, players can now execute stealth more freely, but it remains a PC-exclusive advantage. Surprisingly, in the RPG trilogy, Kassandra outshines both Bayek and Eivor when it comes to stealth, and both lore and gameplay explain why. Lore-wise, she's a demigod, giving her enhanced knowledge of precursor weapons and abilities. This thing naturally ties into gameplay as you can build different stealth setups that make her nearly unstoppable. And thanks to the Spirit of Leonidas, she has access to a vast array of abilities, and some even let her turn invisible, some allow her to chain assassinate, and others can even throw enemies off cliffs. Kassandra is seriously underrated in stealth. She's the only protagonist after Origins in the RPG trilogy who can clear out forts and camps entirely undetected. And with the right perks and abilities, she can even one-shot enemies twice her level. If you know what you're doing, detection becomes nearly impossible. Compared to Eivor and Bayek, Kassandra has a clear advantage. She's still bulky, but she's adapted herself to evolving conditions, making her a far deadlier shadow in the field. Then we have the character who was promoted purely for his mastery of stealth, and he truly lives up to the title. In Assassin's Creed Mirage, stealth feels as smooth as butter. Sure, there are minor issues like animation delays, recycle moves, and occasional clunkiness, but it's still far more fluid than any other new game in the series. You have access to the full arsenal of classic tools like blow darts, throwing knives, smoke bombs, trip mines, and even the noisemaker, which is originally called cherry bombs. This setup perfectly recaptures that classic Assassin's Creed experience. Lore-wise, Basim is considered a ghost in stealth, as no other assassin in the Brotherhood comes close to him. It's said that he moves so fast that it only takes a moment for anyone to notice him before he's already gone. And it's also focused in the game's assassin focus mechanic, mimicking that incredible speed. His higher percentage of Isu DNA combined with being a literal reincarnation of Loki makes him nearly untouchable. And since no one in the Brotherhood posed a challenge to him, that allowed him to become a master at an age even younger than Altair. And because of that, in the newer games, Basim stands as the stealthiest assassin. But the question remains, is there anyone else who can rival him? Keep watching and you'll find out. Shadows introduced a host of new mechanics that made stealth and exploration genuinely fun, and to showcase them, the developers created a dedicated character, Naoe. She's a shinobi, or better known as ninja, so her playstyle and lore naturally center around stealth. Lore-wise, she truly is a shadow because most of her assassinations were carried out silently. Being nimble, small, and fast, she may not outpace Basim in the lore, but she's still remarkably quick. In gameplay, she might actually be the fastest assassin you can control. because when you play as her, you instantly feel the speed and agility she offers, and when combined with tools like smoke bombs, shuriken, bells, and kunai, she's an absolute blast to play. And just like her lore, she can blend into shadows, extinguish light sources, and even go prone. And these are the things no other protagonist in the series can replicate in gameplay. All of this makes her a truly worthy candidate for a discussion on Stealth Masters. As for Yasuke, well, he's better left out, because even if he tries to sneak, he'll just alert the entire town, making him more of a liability than a stealth asset. Coming to the classic era, we start with Eivor Kenway, and he's a very different case. Eivor is stealthy when he needs to be and completely reckless when he doesn't. That's why he has to be judged differently. Lore-wise and gameplay-wise, there's almost perfect synchronization, especially since the 100% synchronization system introduced in Brotherhood carries over, hence letting us clearly see how he canonically approached missions. In the early stages of his journey in Havana, Edward sneaks into the governor's mansion without any prior assassin training. He infiltrates this successfully and only gets captured due to sheer bad luck. Around the same time, while searching for the sage, he stealthily infiltrates Great Anagua and assassinates Julian Ducasse. From there, we constantly see him tailing targets, stalking from rooftops, and operating in the shadows. But his biggest feat? It might be infiltrating the assassin hideout in Tulum, where he not only enters undetected, but even knocks out some of them. That's bold. Add that to the moments where he hides his ship under the cover of darkness and consistently uses stealth to get what he wants. Gameplay complements this perfectly with tools like the blow dart, rope dart, and throwing knives. In combat, he can one-shot enemies effortlessly, and in stealth, he absolutely dominates. The only thing that slightly lowers his aura is that after pulling off near impossible infiltrations, we often see him caught in the aftermath. This doesn't make him weak, it just keeps him from feeling untouchable. Still, when it comes to stealth, Eivor Kenway is far from a low-tier assassin. Since we decided to talk about the Kenway bloodline, it's only right to move to Edward's son, Haytham. Haytham is far more combat-oriented than his father and has noticeably fewer stealth feats compared to the other characters we've discussed. And honestly, it makes sense. He was raised by the Templars, and unlike the assassins, stealth is not at the core of their philosophy. The only true assassin tools he possesses are the hidden blades, and even those were taken from a dead assassin as a souvenir. That said, he is still Edward's son. Before Edward's death, he did teach Haytham a few skills, and that foundation shows. Haytham can free run efficiently, perform basic stealth, and even lockpick when necessary. His most memorable stealth moment is when he infiltrates the opera house to assassinate the assassin mentor, Miko. That scene alone is a clean display of his agility and calculated approach. Another brief but noticeable moment is when he sneaks up on Connor in the church. There are other moments, but these stand out the most. So while Haytham is undeniably a beast in sword combat, stealth is not truly his domain. However, despite it not being his primary strength, he still uses it effectively whenever the situation demands it. Connor is the last member of the Kenway family we directly play as, and he's probably the most misunderstood when it comes to stealth. A lot of the people focus on his raw combat power and overlook his subtlety. But here's the truth. Connor is equal, if not slightly below in stealth compared to what people hype him to be. But he is undeniably skilled. From childhood, he was exceptional at hiding, something we literally experienced when we first played as him. Then, as a teenager, he's shown sneaking around. Wildlife, bears, deer, and even cougars, getting close enough without being detected. That alone says a lot. Then there's his mastery of tree parkour. Connor can traverse the entire forest using treetops, turning nature itself into his cover, and ambush enemies before they even realize he's there. And all of this is canon. And if this isn't enough, look at the Battle of Bunker Hill. He sneaks through an active war zone surrounded by an entire army and successfully assassinates his target. Around the same time, he moves between two warships, slipping past their crews undetected. These are not small feats, they're elite level infiltration moments. His tools were definitely fewer compared to others, but they fit his character perfectly, which is efficient, practical, and lethal. Gameplay wise, we don't always feel the full extent of his stealth because his build and certain system limitations hold it back mechanically. But lore wise, Connor is absolutely stealth capable. Maybe not the smoothest shadow in the series, but definitely not someone you'd want hunting you in the dark. Then we have another Templar, but this time an assassin turned Templar, Shay. His story is familiar to many as he started as an assassin believing in the creed to make the world a better place. But eventually, we see how things took a turn. Shay left the Brotherhood and became a Templar, wreaking havoc on his former allies. His feats lean more toward open conflict than subtle infiltration, but there are notable stealth moments worth mentioning. In one mission, he cleared an entire village of Native American assassins blocking his path without being detected. During his assassin years, he stealthily infiltrated a fort to kill his target and even carried out a silent assassination at a party. Shay's toolkit reflects his modernized approach too. He wields the air gun, a faster and instant effect blow dart with a grenade launcher attachment, alongside traditional assassin tools like hidden blades, smoke bombs, knives, and rope darts. The air gun or air rifle is definitely his signature weapon. In side activities, Shay can take over gang headquarters and infiltrate warehouses without breaking a sweat. He even avoids stalkers, which require keen awareness of his surroundings. While he's undeniably stealthy, the game doesn't fully do justice to his capabilities, but anyone who masters him knows just how lethal he can be in the shadows. Jacob and Evie are the only modern assassins we get to play as in a literal sense, and each comes with their own distinct stats and playstyles. Evie is the one built for stealth, so let's focus on her first. On paper, both siblings share most skills with only a few unique to each. Evie's core, however, is stealth, which is evident in most of her missions. That said, since she's still young and learning in the main story, many missions that were meant to be executed quietly often end up chaotic. As the game progresses, she learns to balance stealth much more effectively. Her abilities are seriously overpowered. Once fully upgraded, Evie gets a massive buff to her stealth capabilities, and even unlocks exclusive stats enhancing her stealth performance. Much like Kassandra, she can turn invisible if you remain idle and crouched long enough, making her a true shadow in the world. So Evie is without a question made for stealth. Jacob, on the other hand, is a brawler. While he shares many of the same skills as Evie, stealth is far from his focus. In short, stealth isn't a major mechanic in Syndicate, and it feels very different from the fluid, freedom-focused stealth of Unity. Evie embodies the shadowy assassin, while Jacob thrives in the chaos of open combat. Now we come to the character truly known for stealth, Arno Dorian. A fan favorite, Arno stands out because Unity offers unmatched freedom in gameplay, especially when it comes to moving through the shadows. His stealth arsenal is one of the most advanced in the series, second only to Ezio. It includes the Phantom Blade, smoke bombs, cherry bombs, and even a disguise ability which lets him take on the appearance of anyone around him. In the main story, Arno has numerous stealth feats. He infiltrates Notre Dame without detection, blends seamlessly into crowds to gain the upper hand, locates targets from impressive distances, and more. Gameplay-wise, you can do a full ghost playstyle. You can go through entire missions without killing a single person if you mastered the mechanics. Arno was crafted for stealth, and the gameplay was designed to complement that. It requires some grinding to unlock his full potential, but once you do, playing as Arno becomes the ultimate stealth assassin experience. Now we're entering the big leagues. Ezio Auditore da Firenze, the man for whom Assassin's Creed is arguably best known, and there's a reason for it. Ezio isn't just remembered for his story, he's legendary for his gameplay and how perfectly he embodies the Creed and the Assassin way. Across all three of his games, especially Brotherhood, we see his full assassin side in action, both in lore and gameplay. In AC2, even before fully becoming an assassin, Ezio sneaks into places to rescue his father and brothers without being detected. And throughout the story, he's often seen eavesdropping and stalking targets, honing his craft. But the real showcase comes in Brotherhood. Early in his journey, he sneaks in and out of the Castello, which is one of the most heavily guarded locations at the time, without breaking a sweat. Like Edward, he tails targets, disguises himself as guards to access restricted areas, and blends into crowds to strike silently. All of this is executed flawlessly without detection. In Revelations, he continues similar feats, though he doesn't seem as invested in stealth as he was in Brotherhood, showing a noticeable difference in focus. As for his tools and gameplay, Ezio has one of the most advanced arsenals in the series, like hidden guns that fire both bullets and poison darts, throwing knives and crossbows for range attacks, and of course, his iconic hidden blades. All in all, Ezio was a beast in his era, and it shows clearly why he remains one of the most celebrated assassins in the franchise. The final character on this list is Altair, and honestly, do we even need to explain him? He is widely considered the best assassin there is. Despite having a relatively limited array of gadgets and tools, he surpasses most other assassins, excluding Kassandra, and that's only because she's a demigod. But don't mistake that for a lack of stealth mastery on Altair's part. In AC1 and Revelations, the gameplay doesn't fully showcase it, but the lore paints him as a true demon in the shadows. He's described as a ghost, eliminating enemies before they can even react, a fact that is even highlighted in the Templar trailer for the first game. In canon, during the first game, he never takes a single hit, giving him a near godlike status. This is why many consider him superior to Ezio, because after killing Al-Mualim, Altair acquires the Apple of Eden. He studies it for decades and creates technology and tools that Ezio later uses. And as most of you know, Ezio's gadgets are essentially Altair's designs brought to the next era. So you cannot simply outdo the master. With the armor of Altair and the hidden gun, he becomes arguably the most powerful man of the 13th century. Combine that with his raw skills, speed, and stealth, he transforms into an unstoppable force across the franchise. It's no wonder the Templars became secondary when he was in charge, as he reformed, reshaped, and defined the Assassin Brotherhood as we know it today. So, based on the feats we told you, in our humble opinion, the character who's the most stealthy and embodies the Assassin's Creed is no doubt Altair, as his lore dominance keeps him up. Because he's not only an assassin, he's the assassin which all other protagonists in the series look up to be. And with that being said, the video comes to an end. Let us know in the comment section which assassin according to your opinion is the most stealthy, and do you guys agree with our list? Also, if you have any other idea or want to share something, then make sure to let us know in the comments below. Subscribe for more content like this one. We'll see you in the next video. Till then, take care and goodbye.